Section 10.4 is the beginning of the unit circle. So this is where we're really going to take that triangle and put it into the unit circle and see how that's going to fit. So the first thing we want to do is fill out our text box over here on the right where it says the image of 1, 0. 1, 0 just meaning unit circle, okay, with the radius of 1. So that's all it means. So it says any rotation of any angle is given by the ordered pair cosine of that angle followed by sine of that angle. So what you want to realize from here is that cosine is always going to be the x coordinate in your ordered pair, and sine is always going to be the y coordinate in that ordered pair. Okay, you can kind of think of it C and then S is alphabetical, cosine and then sine. Okay, either way, the first ordered pair, the first coordinate is cosine, second is the sine. So important ideas there. Okay, so here is our unit circle, and we want to go ahead and we want to label a couple things on our unit circle. So we know that the radius of our unit circle is 1. Well, if I go straight out from the middle and I don't go up anywhere, that means that ordered pair is going to be 1, 0, okay, because it has a radius of 1. If I were to go over here, this means I'm going kind of backwards. This is our middle spot. You always start in the middle. Now if I go backwards, it's going to be negative 1, 0, okay? If I go down here, that's going to give me 0, negative 1. Kind of think about this just on an XY chart, okay, XY table. This is going to be the ordered pair 0, 1. Okay, so there's your basic part of your unit circle. Okay, now if we start talking about degrees, where we start is our home base. Okay, so our home base is going to be this nice orange line here. Okay, that's 0 degrees. If I think about the whole circle being 360, so this could also be considered 360 degrees. If I go halfway around that, that means my 180 degrees is going to be here. Half of my 180 is going to be 90 degrees up here. And then 1.5 would be 270 degrees down here. Okay, so those are your major 4 points on the unit circle. And now we're going to talk about the ones that we worked with yesterday. So we also know that this first one, if we think about our triangle and our special angle, this first one is going to be 30 degrees. And if we talk about the fact that we know all of our ordered pairs are cosine of that angle, comma, sine of that angle, we can tell me that the cosine of 30, which we dealt with yesterday, is the square root of 3 over 2. And I know that the sine of 30 is 1/2. So the ordered pair here of this little dot is the square root of 3 over 2, comma, 1/2. Okay? And then if I move up a line, okay, the next angle that was special that we looked at yesterday was 45 degrees. And I can find the same thing. I will know that the cosine of 45 is the square root of 2 over 2, and the sine is the square root of 2 over 2 as well. Okay, and keeping that in mind, the third point here would hopefully be 60, if you kind of put that together. And then that one had a cosine of 60 to be half, and then, I'm sorry, not a half, and then the square root of 3 over 2 for the sine. Okay, so those points are the major points. The 3 ordered pairs, 30, 45, 60, are the ones that you should have been memorizing already. Okay, now you're just going to add the other ones. Okay, again, put these in your memory bank. Find a way to memorize them. There are a few tricks. I want to see if you can come up with some, and then we'll talk about some tomorrow, okay? But please, please commit this to memory, okay? It's going to make your life a lot easier. Okay, so if you guys go ahead and look at the examples, okay, I'm going to talk you through it, but I want to leave up the visual, so I'm going to go back to the order pair, or the unit circle in a second. So example A, find the coordinates of 1, 0. Okay, that just means on the unit circle, under a rotation of 60. So this just means 60 degrees. So I want you to look at that unit circle that you just wrote down, go up to 60 degrees, and the ordered pair there was 1/2 the square root of 3 over 2. Okay. Part B says coordinates of 1, 0 under a rotation of 75. Well, that is not one of our special angles, okay? But you know that all the coordinates are cosine of that angle followed by sine of that angle. So all you need to do at this point, if it is not on the unit circle, okay, is type it in your calculator. So cosine of 75 is 0.2588, and the sine of 75 is 0.9659. So that would be your ordered pair. Okay, you are only allowed to use your calculator on the ones that are not on the unit circle. That will not happen very often, but I wanted you to realize how to do it if it did. Okay, most of this chapter is going to be no calculator. Okay, so we're going to go through C through I here, and I'm going to bring you back, okay, to the unit circle so you can see the visual. Okay, so C, maybe I can even write it over here. C says the cosine of 30. Okay, so what I'm going to do, okay, and I'll see if I can do this in yellow, is I'm going to go up to 30 degrees. Okay, and cosine is the x-coordinate, so I'm going to pick out the x-coordinate. So my answer for the cosine of 30 is the square root of 3 over 2. Simple as that. You're just reading the unit circle. Tangent of 180. Okay, so that means I'm going to go over to 180. So this time I'm going all the way over here to 180 degrees. Okay, and here is my ordered pair, -1 over -1 and 0. Well, tangent is a little tricky because tangent is the sine over the cosine. Hopefully you remember that. So sine is the y-coordinate. So the y-coordinate at 180 is 0. The cosine is -1. And 0 divided by -1 is 0. So the tangent of 180 is 0. Example E wants me to go to 45 degrees. Okay, so I know 45 is right here. It's the middle one. Sine is the y-coordinate. So that's going to give me the square root of 2 over 2. Example F wants the cosine of 360. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way back and I'm going to start I'm going to end right where I finished, 360. Cosine is the x-coordinate, so the x-coordinate here is 1. Example G says the tan of 60. So the tan of 60, okay, is all the way up here. It's that third one. Tangent, again, is sine over cosine, so I need to do the y-coordinate over the x-coordinate. So that's going to be the square root of 3 over 2 divided by 1/2. Okay, I guess this one may require a little bit more work, so let me see if I can extend my page. So if you remember, that's going to be the square root of 3 over 2 times the reciprocal, which is 2 over 1. Then multiply straight across, so I have 2 times the square root of 3 over 2. The 2's cancel, and you can get the square root of 3. Okay, so that's G. Let me see if I can scroll back up here so we can see the whole unit circle. There we go. Okay, and then I'll kind of come over here. So example H then says the sine of 90. Okay, so I'm going to go up to 90, which is the first big major one. Sine is the y-coordinate, so that answer is going to be 1. And example I, tan of 270. So 270 is 3/4 of the way around. So I'm looking at this order pair down here. So I've got 0, -1. Tan is sine over cosine, so the y over the x. So I have -1 divided by 0, okay, and that is going to be undefined. Okay, you can't divide by 0, so you need to say undefined. Okay, so those are the basic reading the unit circle problems. Okay, we're going to try a few trickier ones now. So now we're going to look at angles that are bigger than 360. Again, I'm going to stay on this unit circle and then kind of jot things down on the side. So now it says, for example J, find sine of 390. Okay, so what you want to do is say, okay, the whole circle is 360. So what we're doing is we're going around the circle multiple times. So if I go around the whole circle 360 degrees, I've already done that. That's going to leave me with 30 degrees. Okay, and then I'm going to look at 30. So again, the sine of 30, I'm going to look at my angle at 30 degrees. The sine is the y-coordinate, so that's going to be 1/2. Okay, so basically what you're going to do is you're going to go around again, so all you need to do is subtract from 360. So K says 765. Well, that's really big. 2 circles is 720, so I can subtract 720, and that leaves me with 45 degrees. And then it says a tangent, and the tangent at 45, okay, is sine over cosine. Okay, well, the square root of 2 over 2 divided by the square root of 2 over 2 is just going to give me 1. Okay, L says the cosine of 630. Okay, so I got to subtract 360 from that. Okay, again, you've got no calculator, so if you need to do this long ways, no worries. So I would borrow a 5. That would turn that to 13. That would give me 7, so that would give me 270 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way around the circle. Okay, go around the circle again, end at 270. It says the cosine, and the cosine is the x-coordinate, so that's going to be 0 at 270 degrees. And then m, sorry, I got to shoot up here. M is sine of 540. So 540 minus 360 is going to leave me at 180 degrees. So I'm going to go over to 180. The sine is the y-coordinate, so the sine at 180 is 0. Okay, so angles over 360, just turn them into the ones that you already know how to do, okay, by subtracting 360. Okay, negative just means we're going to go in the opposite direction. So this entire time we have been measuring in a counterclockwise fashion. This time, if it's negative, we're just going to go backwards. Okay, so negative is going to be coming down. So your negative degrees are going down. So this time if it says find the sine of negative 90, like it does in example N, negative 90 would be coming back this way and ending at 90 degrees. It says the sine, so the sine, here we're really looking at 270 if you want to look at the positive one, and the sine down there is going to be negative 1 because it is the y-coordinate. Okay. Example O says negative 180, so if I go back 180 degrees, well, halfway is still halfway. Okay, so that's going to still give me a positive 180. The cosine there is the x-coordinate, so the cosine there is negative 1. Example P says tan of negative 330. So that means I got to go backwards all the way. Okay, 330 will land me at a positive 30 degrees. Okay, so then I'm looking for the tangent there. Okay, tangent is sine over cosine. So that's going to give me 1/2 over the square root of 3 over 2. So that's going to give me 1/2 times 2 over the square root of 3, which gives me 2 over 2 square roots of 3. So my 2's cancel, so 1 over the square root of 3. And once I multiply the top and the bottom, that's going to give me the square root of 3 over 3. If you don't want to do that math and you just want to commit the tangents to your memory as well, I think that might be a great idea. Okay, and then Q says the cosine of negative 315. So this time I need to go backwards. 315 means I'm going to stop here at the positive 45 degrees. Okay, and then it asks me for the cosine. Cosine is the x-coordinate, and that is the square root of 2 over 2. Okay, so those are your quote-unquote basics of the unit circle, and we'll take a lot of time here. So feel free to bring a lot of questions, and we'll talk about them tomorrow.